Okay, so very good evening, guys. Just let me know if I'm audible. Hello, like are you getting my voice? Like I just want to confirm that. I mean, okay, cool. So yeah, so it's Abhishek this side, and actually I was a busy. I was a bit busy last week, so I couldn't take any session. So today I'll be covering the binary search trees part, and I feel Monisha has already covered the binary trees topic. So today I'll be covering the binary search trees. Okay, so let us start then. I mean, okay, so yeah, like as I said, today we'll be covering binary search trees. So let's start. So okay, so in today's session, I'll be covering like what is basically a VST, and then how to do insertion in a VST, and then how we can search for an element in a VST. I mean, binary search tree, as its name suggests, it is used to perform search operation in the most efficient manner. And then probably we'll see how to delete a node from BST. I mean, BST is actually a very vast topic. I mean, also there are many topics which are which are a sort of derivative of BST. I mean, like there are data structures like AVL trees, there are red black trees, which perform some operations more efficiently, but I mean they are really advanced data structures, and it's not possible to cover all of them. I mean, in this course. So if you want to learn, then you can learn about them. They're like avial trees, and then red black trees, and there is also something. I don't remember the name, but yeah, like there are a few other trees also. So you can learn about them if you want to. So let us see the definition. I mean, I feel that you all are aware of what exactly a binary tree is. Like every node can have at most two children. So if that holds true for a tree, that tree is known as a binary tree. Now, what is a binary search tree? Now, as its name suggests, binary trees which are capable of performing search operations in the most efficient manner. Now, what do I mean by efficient manner? Now, let us say there is a binary tree which is having, let us say, n nodes. Okay. Now, if I ask you to search for an element, like you just tell me whether the element exists in the binary tree or not. So what would be your approach? I mean, you're going to search in the root, and then if you like find the value at the root, then you simply return true. Else you recurse on the left and the right subtree, and then you keep on doing the same thing for every other node. So that is, so basically what you are doing is you are almost checking for every node, okay, recursively. So if there are n nodes, then it's going to take n, like O of n complexity. But in case of binary search tree, like though I'm assuming that the binary search tree is balanced. So it is having, so if there are n nodes, then the height, I'm like, as of like for now, I'm assuming it is balanced. I will tell you later like what are the worst case scenarios. So if it is balanced, then it can do the task in login, like similar to binary search. If you know binary search, I mean, I'm not really aware whether you all know binary search or not, but if you know, then binary search performs a search operation in login. So similarly, binary search tree also performs search operation in login. Now, what is a binary search tree? So there's a definition that I've written here, that the left subtree of a node contains only nodes with keys lesser than the nodes key values. And similarly, the right subtree of a node contains only nodes with keys greater than the nodes keys. And the left and right subtree each must also be a binary search tree. Now, what is this? Now, let us see what is the value at the root. So the value at the root is 8. Now, what are all the nodes that are in the left subtree of 8? So they are 3. 3 is in the left subtree of 8. 1 is in the left subtree of 8. 6 is in the left subtree of 8. 4 and 7 are in the left subtree of 8. So all these values have to be less than 8. And they indeed are. Like 1 is less than 8, 3 is less than 8, 6, 4, 7, these all are less than 8. And all the nodes which are in the right side of 8, okay, like 10, 14, and 13, they should be greater than 8. So it is holding for 8. Now it should also hold for the node which is having value 3 and 10. Like similarly, you can see for 3, its left subtree has a value 1, which is lesser than 3, and its right subtree is having value 6, 4, and 7, which are greater than 3. Similarly, for 6 also, this property holds for 6. The node which is in the left of, which is like in the left side of 6, is having a value 4, which is less than 6, and 7, which is in the right side of 6, is having a value greater than 6. So that is the basic definition of a binary search tree. So it should hold for the root, as well as it should also hold for the left and the right subtree. I mean, for every node, this property should hold. Okay, so there is one tricky question that that's asked, I mean, many a times, that what if two nodes are having equal values? I mean, what in that case, what are you going to do? I mean, are you going to reject that node and simply do not insert it in the binary search tree, or are you going to insert it in the left side and right side? I mean, let us say let us say 8 is already there, and let us say again want to insert 8. So in which side should I insert 8? I mean, should I insert it in the left side or on the right side? So this is not that trivial. I mean, if you keep on inserting repeated values, then it's completely up to you in which side you want to insert it. So it's something that's up to you, but it is actually recommended that you don't insert repeated values, because then the complete you can say the main features for which a binary search tree is used, which is to perform search operations in the most efficient manner, that doesn't hold. I mean, if there are repeated values. So it is generally recommended to skip values which are already there in the binary search tree. So I hope the definition is clear. I mean, it was pretty straightforward definition. So I think the definition is clear. So let us see. I mean, okay, so like you can see this, like I just taken two binary search trees, and like these two are binary trees, but are they binary search trees? Okay. So if you are there, then you can answer in the chat. I mean, saying like whether the left binary tree is a binary search tree or not, or whether the right binary tree is a binary search tree or not. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so the first binary tree is not a binary search tree. And why? Because it doesn't hold for the root node 30. I mean, for 30, I said that all the nodes that lie on the right side of 30 should be greater than 30. So 40 is greater than 30, 50 is greater than 30, but 10 is not greater than 30. So it's not a binary search tree. Whereas if I look at the second binary tree, then it is a binary search tree, because for every node, the property of binary search tree holds. I mean, all the nodes that are in the left side of that node are lesser than the given node, and all the nodes that are in the right side of that node are greater than that particular node. So yeah, so basically you have to check for every node, and then for all the subtrees that lie to the left of it, and all the subtrees that lie to the right of it. So yeah. Now let us see how to insert in a binary search tree. So okay, so like insertion in a binary search tree always happens at the leaf node. Okay, so you can see the definition, like it says a new key is always inserted at the leaf. And the reason being, like what we basically do is let us say this is my tree. Okay, let us say I'm having a tree which looks like this. I mean, there is 10, there is 20, there is 500, then there is 10 and 30. Okay, now let us see, now let us say we want to insert value 40 in it. Okay, so how to proceed? I mean, how to insert the value 40? Now, as I have already said that it should hold. I mean, the binary search tree property should also hold. I cannot insert 40 at any random position, because that is going to, like it might happen that it will destroy the property of the binary search tree. So I need to insert 40 at a place such that after inserting 40 in my binary tree, the property of binary search tree still holds. So for that, what we do is we simply start at the root. Okay, like this is a pretty straightforward algorithm. I'm just speaking it out. So you simply start at the root. Okay, now in the now okay, so let us say the value which I want to insert is 40. Okay, that is the value which I want to insert. Now what I'll do is I'll start at the root. I'll check what is the value at the root. So the value at the root is 100. Okay, now 100 is greater than 40. So 40 can never lie on right side of 100. I mean, 40 can never lie in the right subtree of 100. 40 has to lie in the left subtree of 100. So what I do is I recursively do the same thing. I mean, I first checked the value at root. I got to the conclusion that 100 is greater than 40. So what I did after this is I traversed to the left node. I mean, to the left node of 100, or you can say the left child of 100. Okay, yeah. So now I went to 20. Now the value 20 is strictly less than 40. So 40 can never lie in the left subtree of 20, because I know in the left subtree of 20 all the values are lesser than 20, but 40 is greater than 20. So 40 has to lie in the right subtree of 20. So now what I do is I again recursively go to the right child of 20, which is 30. Now at 30, I check that there is no left child, there is no right child, but 40 is greater than 30, right? So 40 cannot lie in the left subtree of 30, because all the nodes that will lie in the left subtree of 30 will have to be lesser than 30, but 40 is greater than 30. So 40 has to be the right child of 30. So that's why I simply inserted 40 in the right subtree of 30, or I simply made 40 as the right child of 30. So that is the basic procedure. I mean, let us say after this, if I want to insert say value, what I can take, let us take 35. Okay, let us take let us take 35. Yeah, let us take 35. So if I want to insert 35, then first I'll go to the root. Then I see that 35 is lesser than 100. So I go to the left subtree. I check for 20. But and here I see that 20. I mean the value 35 is greater than 20. So I go to the right subtree of 20, which is 30. Now I compare 30 with 35. I see that 35 is greater than 30. So I again go to the right subtree of 30, which is 40. Now I compare 40 and 30. I see that 40 is greater than 35. So 35 has to lie in the left subtree of 40. So so what I do is I make the left child of 40 as 35. So this is a recursive approach. I mean, yeah. So even I've written like the structure of a BST. Okay, so this is a different thing. Like this I'll discuss. So the insertion happens like this. Yeah, 40 is left child. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so another thing which you should keep in mind is that the structure of a BST depends in the order in which nodes are inserted. Okay, I mean, this is really important. Like this is something which is really important. There is something known as isomorphic trees. Okay, so isogenic and isomorphic trees, these are a bit, I mean, if you go deeper into the math side of it, okay, these are something related to the combinations of, I mean, something related to permutations and combinations that we can do in a binary search trees. And we use various ideas of combinatorics, like there is something known as Catalan numbers, and there is something known as which is also a direct result. And also there are something known as isomorphic trees and isogenic trees. So all these things are used there. I mean, if you want to learn, you can learn about them, but yeah, like I won't recommend it though. But one thing that you should always keep in mind is that the structure of a BST depends in the order in which the nodes are inserted. Okay. Now, as I said, I first inserted 40 and then 35. So that will give me one binary search tree. But if I'll first insert say 35 and then 40, then probably it will give me a different structure. Okay. So it depends in the order that you should keep in mind. So if the order changes, then the structure of BST might also change. Okay. So let us just try to code, I mean, something. Okay, so first I'll like as we do, I'll define a structure. So I can take, let us say, value and then a left node, say left, and then a right node, say right. Okay, and then what I do is I simply create a function which should create a new node. Let us say if I want to create a new node, so it will simply do that, and I pass the value x which I want to you know want in my node. So what I'll do is I'll simply say tree star, let us say, what I can say, let us say node. Okay, fine. Okay, so you guys don't know C++. Okay, cool. But okay, so I mean, I don't think there's anything more to explain about the algorithm. I mean, the algorithm is pretty straightforward, like whatever I explained. So if you have any doubt, you can ask me, like any specific doubt. Otherwise, the algorithm is like straightforward. Like you start from the root, you compare the value, and if it is less, you go to the left side of the root, and then like if it is more, then you go to the right side, and then you recurse the same thing. I mean, you recursively keep on doing the same thing. So yeah. Okay, so fine. I mean, if you guys don't want, then I can probably skip this part. I mean, or maybe I mean, I think I can at least write the insert function. I mean, like if like I think there are other people also who probably would be would I mean who probably would be expecting the video in YouTube, so they might watch it. So I think I'll just take like I won't take much time. I'll probably write it down in 2 to 3 minutes. I'll only talk about the insert function probably. Okay. So yeah. So I'm creating a new tree. Okay. And then I'm setting the value as X, and then let us keep the left and the right nodes. Okay, so guys, I don't know like if you know about this. I mean, I don't really know whether this thing is there in Java or not, but in C++ there is something known as null PTR, and there is also something known as null. So they both are different things. So like null PTR is usually recommended, uh, and null is usually not recommended. I mean, it is something related to the memory part of C++. So if there's something in Java, then you can also learn about it or probably Google about it. If there's something null and null PTR, if there is something like this in Java, and then I can simply return the node. Okay, and let me just write a in order traversal by passing the root node. Okay, by passing the root node. So if my root is null, then I should simply return. Else I'll do the in order thing in order in the left, and then print the value which is there in the root, which is basically root val, and then go to the right and then simply return. Okay. Now what should I do? Okay, so now let us write a insert. So now let us write a insert function. So as I said, it will take the root node. Okay. Now I see if my root node is equals to null. I mean, if okay, so if it is null, then what I do is I simply return. Okay, so along with root, I also need to pass the value which I want. I mean, let us say I want to have the value x. I mean, let us say, I mean, basically what I'm doing here is I'm creating a node with a value x and trying to insert that node into my BST. Okay, so basically I'm just trying to find the proper place at which I can insert it, because I don't know the place. So that's why I have to recursively find the place where I can insert that value. So if I mean I reach a null PTR situation, I mean if I face a situation where the root is null, then that is the position where I want to, you know, insert my node. Because like you saw in the example, like when I was inserting 40, I inserted 40 in the right subtree of 30. So initially there was no right subtree in 30, right? 30 had left child and right child both equal to null. So I recursively called for the right subtree, and since it was null, so I just got the idea that this is where I want to create my new node. So in that case, I'll simply create a new node and return it. Okay. Else what I do is I check, I mean, if the root value, let us say if it is lesser than x. Okay. So if the value at the root is lesser than x, or you can say the value which you want to insert is greater than the value at the root. So what should I do? I should go to the right subtree and try to, you know, insert it in the right. I mean, I have to basically find the proper position in the right subtree. So what I should do is I should recursively find out the position in the right subtree. Else, you know, if the root value is, let us say if it is greater than x, I mean if x is lesser than the value at the root, then I need to go to the left subtree and I need to just update it. And then probably what I'm going to do is I am going to return the root. Okay, so let us quickly write the main function. And the first thing that I will do is I'll first create a, so let us create this. Okay, so let us say if I want to insert 5 first. So let us say if I want to insert 5 first, and then say 6, and then say 1, and then say 4, and then say 7, and then say 3. Okay, so let us just do a dry run here. Okay, so first initially there are no nodes, so there is only 5. Okay, now what will happen is when I'm going to insert 6, since 6 is greater than 5, so it will be inserted in the right. So it will be inserted in the right subtree of 5. Okay, so my structure would look something like this. Okay, now after inserting 6, what I want to insert is I want to insert the value 1. So now what should be my procedure? I'll start at the root. The value is 5, but 1 is lesser than 5. So I should go to the left, but in left there are no nodes. I mean, it is null. So I should what I should do, I mean, what I should do as per my algorithm is I should simply create a node here. And I should simply name this node as 1. I mean, fill value 1 here. Now let us talk about 4. So what I'll do for 4 is I'll check at root. So the value at root is 5, but 4 is lesser than 5. So I'll go to 1. I'll compare 1 with 4. So 4 is greater than 1. So I'll go to the right subtree of 1, but there is no right subtree of 1. It is null. So I'll create a node here. I think this idea is clear, like why I'm checking this thing. Because as I said, that insertion always happens at the leaf node. So that is the reason, I mean. So a leaf node is something that has no left and no right subtree. So both left and right children are null. So that's why. So 4 needs to be inserted here. Okay. Now after inserting 4, I'll go for 7. Now again, 7 is greater than 5. Okay. So I'm assured of the fact that 7 is never going to lie in the left side of 5. Now I go to 6. Now 7 is greater than 6. So 7 is going to lie in the right side of 6. So I again go to right subtree of 6, but there is no right subtree of 6. Like both the left and right children of 6 are null. So I will create a node here. Okay. That means the position of nodes is immutable. Exactly. I mean, you cannot change the position of nodes once they are inserted. They are immutable. Yeah, you cannot change them. So 7 comes here. Now let us talk about 3. So so it will be this, like so it will be the same procedure. I mean, I'll start at root, which is 5. 3 is lesser than 5. So I'll go to the left subtree of 5. I'll compare 3 with 1. Now 1 is lesser than 3, or you can say 3 is greater than 1. So 3 has to lie in the 3 has to lie at the right subtree of 1. So I'll go to 4 and I'll compare 3 with 4. Okay, so I'll compare 3 with 4. Now 3 is lesser than 4. So 3 will lie in the left side, or you can say in the left subtree of 4. So I go to the left subtree of 4, but there is no left subtree. I mean, both the left and right children of 4 are null. So I create a new node here. This is the node which I create. Okay. So yeah, so this is what my tree will look like. Yeah, so this is what my tree will look like. So let us just code it once. And okay, another thing that you should keep in mind is that the in order traversal of a binary search tree is always an increasing, is always in increasing order. I mean, if you print the in order traversal of a binary search tree, then you are going to get the values in an increasing order. I mean, why that happens is because the reason is very simple, that in order, what you do is you first go to left and then you access the root value and then you go to right. As I've already said, that in a binary search tree, the value which lies in the left subtree is lesser than the value at the root, and the values which lie at the right subtree are greater than the values at the root. So since first you are traversing the left subtree, so you will going to get the smaller values, and then you are going to the root, so we'll get the value which lie in the middle. And then since you are traversing the right subtree, so we'll get the greater values. So it will be, in an increasing order, or basically you are going to get the sorted array. I mean, if let us say my array looks something like this, and if I insert these values into a binary search tree and then simply do the in order traversal of a binary search tree, then it should be increasing. So one way to check if my algorithm is correct or not is to simply print the in order traversal. If it is increasing, then my algorithm is correct. I mean, I have coded all the things correctly. So let us quickly do that. Let us first create the root. Okay. let us create the root. Let us create the root by using this function. I mean the create node function. Create node function. And let us pass the value 5. Okay, because I want 5 as my root. Then what I do is I simply keep on inserting using the insert function. Let us pass root and then the value 6. Okay. And then I will insert 1, then 4, then 7, then 3. Okay. Now let us print the in order traversal of this root. I mean, just to check if things are correct or not. Yeah, so as you can see, just a second, let me just write a endl statement here. I mean, it is printing that percentage sign. So yeah. So as you can see, it is correct because because you can see the numbers are indeed in increasing order, like 1, 3, 4, 5, and 7. So it is a rule that, I mean, it is also quite logical that the in order traverse, I mean, the when you do a in order traversal, the values that are being printed should be in increasing order, and it always happens. So if it doesn't happen, then probably your tree is not a binary search tree, or probably your code is buggy. I mean, you have done something wrong and you probably need to check your code once again. So yeah, so that is all about insertion. Let us quickly see some of the other properties. I mean, what else we can do in a BST. So now let us see how we can search for a key. Okay, so let us say you are given a binary search tree and you want to check if a value exists or not. I mean, uh, I mean, uh, if the value exists in the binary search tree, then you should return true, and if it doesn't, then you should simply return false. So again, it is exactly the same algorithm as that we used for doing insertion operation. So it is exactly the same algorithm. So what you do is, let us say the value which you want to search for is x. So you start at the root node. If the value at the root node is equal to x, then you simply if this holds, the value at the root node is equal to x, then you simply return true. Else what you do is, if the value at the root node is lesser than x, then you recurse in the right subtree. I mean, let us say x is having a value 10 and the value at my root is 5. So can I ever find 10 in the left subtree of 5? I can never, right? Because the left subtree of 5 is only going to contain nodes which are lesser than 5. So that's why I recurse in the right subtree. And now if the value at the root node is greater than x, I mean, you can say x is lesser than the root node. So I should go to the left subtree and try to search it in the left subtree. So are you like able to get an idea? Like every time I'm having two options and I'm choosing one option, I'm simply discarding the other option. So it is very similar to that of binary search. Binary search algorithm, where what you do is you start picking the middle. A mid value, and then you check your answer for mid value. I mean, if let us say if your answer matches with the mid value, then you simply return. Else, what you do is you shrink your domain. I mean, you either move the low variable or the high variable according to according to the question, I mean, what it expects. So the same thing uh, is something that is also happening here. And yeah, like if you are still not able to find the node, then you should simply return false. So let us just write a search function. I mean, let us just write a search function. So let us say I'm writing a boolean search, and then I'm passing the tree star node. Okay, root, sorry, and then the value which I want to search for. Let us say it is key. Key is something which I want to search for. Now, if root is null, then you simply return false. Because if root is null, I'm going to never have a value at root. So I can never find the value key at root because root is null, right? So I can never, I mean, the root is not containing any value. So I can never have key stored in my root. Now, if the value stored at the root is equal to key, then I simply return true. Okay. Now, if the value stored at the root is say greater than key, or you can say key is lesser than the value stored at the root, then I should return. I mean, I should search in the left subtree, and then if it is lesser than, I mean, if the key is greater, then I should simply return in the right. Okay, so one thing we can do is let us take bool s1, which is, let us say I want to search the value 10. Now 10 is not present, right? So if s1 is equals to true, cout present, else cout not present maybe. So like our answer should be not present. So let us just check it for once. Okay, so we are getting a bunch of errors. Okay, so sorry. I mean, I just forgot to pass the keys. Yeah, in my function. Yeah, so you can see it is saying not present. Now let us check for 6. Let us check for maybe 7. Okay, let us see whether it works or not for 7. Yeah, so you can see for 7 it is printing correctly. It is saying that it is present. We can also check for 4 maybe. Yeah, so it is correctly saying. Okay, so like we saw that we were able to perform search operation. Just a second. Yeah, so like as we saw that, I mean, we saw that we are able to perform search operation efficiently, and like can someone just write it in the chat, like what is the worst case scenario of a search operation? I mean, let us say if my binary search tree is having n nodes. Okay, so let me just write the problem statement here. Let us say it is having n nodes. Okay, and let us say it's having a height, say h. So can you just tell me what is the time complexity of a search operation? I mean, is it log of n? Is it log of is it log of h, or is it n, or is it h? These are the four options. I mean, is it log of n, log of h, n, or h? The time complexity of a search operation. Okay, so Karthik is saying log n. So okay, so so uh, if anyone else wants to answer this, can answer. I mean, you can just try. I mean, you can just try. Okay, fine. So the answer is actually not log n. I mean the answer is the height h. So I mean I can understand why you said log n, because you might be thinking that the height is going to be log n, so it should be log n, but it's not necessary. Okay, like I mean the like let us say a binary search tree can something be like this. Okay, like it is something known as a skewed binary search tree. It is something like this. Okay, so as you can see, I can have values like this. So in that case, like in case of a skewed binary, in a left skewed or a right skewed binary search tree, the worst case can go up to O of height of binary tree. So height is a more precise term. You shouldn't be saying log n or maybe any other thing. I mean, height is something which is very precise. So uh, a, a binary search tree or a binary tree is uniquely identified, or you can say is categorized, whether it is in its best case scenario or in its worst case scenario, depending on its height. So you should always look for the height. Okay, best is O1. Yeah, best is O1. If you you can simply find the value at the root node, so it will be O1. But in average case, it will be always the height of the tree. I mean, it will depend on the height. Okay, so that's pretty much about the search operation. I mean, you can do a search operation in a binary search tree. But yeah, like as I was saying about AVL trees, okay. So AVL trees, I'll just give a basic definition. So I mean, these are basically self-balancing BSTs. I mean, in that case, the height, I mean, the tree will always be balanced. So the tree will always be balanced. So even if I'm having say n nodes, and let us say if I'm having n nodes, my height of the tree can actually never go beyond log of n. Can actually never go beyond log n. Okay, so it is restricted by this log n factor. So this is something which makes AVL trees really fast. I mean, for performing search operations and all this stuff. So, yeah. Okay, so we learned about search operation. Now let us see how do I mean do delete operation in a how to do delete operation in a BST. Okay, so like there are three major cases that you will face when you are deleting a node. Okay, now since it is a binary tree, every node in this tree can like I mean for every node there are three possibilities. Okay, so that node can have no children, that node can have either a left child or a right child, or that node will have both left and right child. Okay, so these are the three different possibilities. It will either have no children, or it will either have I mean it will have either the left child or the right child, or it will have both the left child and the right. I mean it will both have both the left child as well as the right child. Yeah, so these are the three different possibilities. So let us say if I want to delete a node, now what should be the first criteria for deleting a node? I mean, let us say if you want to delete 35, so 35 is not present in this BST, so you simply cannot delete it. So the first criteria should be that the node should be present in my binary search tree. So if it is present, then only I can delete it. Now this is probably the most easiest case in which the node which you are actually trying to delete is having no children, is having no child. Uh, so in that case, what we do is we first do the search operation, and after finding the node 18, we simply free it from the memory. I mean, in C or C++, there is something known as delete or free keywords, using which you can free the allocated memory. So since these all are pointers, I mean, these all are pointed by, I mean, these all are not pointers, but they, I mean, all their memory addresses are being stored in a pointer. So if you delete the pointer, then basically you are deleting the memory address also. I mean, you can simply free the memory also. You can delete the pointer and then you can also free the memory. So I don't really know about Java, but you can look how to, I mean, you can otherwise Google like how to free memory in Java. So you can do that. So this is probably the most easiest operation, probably the most easiest operation under this deletion, in which the node which you want to delete is having no child. So in that case, you simply do the search operation as a like as I said, you find the node and then you simply delete it. Okay, like it is very similar to that of deletion in a linked list. I mean deletion of linked list from the end or something like that. Now this is the second. Okay, so this is the third case. Okay, so the, I mean, don't go with the numbers. Okay, so consider this as a second case only. So in this case, what I'm doing is like I'm trying to delete a node which is only having one child. Okay, so it may either have a left child or a right child, but it will only have one child. So in that case, again, what you do is I mean, you first find out whether the node exists or not. If it exists, then you go to that node, and what you do is you simply make the parent of that node point to the left or the right child of that node. I mean, the parent of 25 is 20. So what I do is I make 20 point to 30, and I simply free 25 from the memory. So it is again very similar to that of linked list. Okay, I mean, consider 25 as a node in a linked list. Okay, and you want to delete it. So what you do is you go to its previous node and make it point to the next node of 25. So since 25 is only having one child, okay, so that's why it is very similar to that of linked list. You go to that node and you make the parent of that node point to the child of 25. So again, like this is also pretty straightforward and pretty simple. I mean, similar to that of linked list. Now comes the, I can say the most I mean, not the most complicated, but among these three, I mean, among these three types of deletions, this is probably the most complicated one, in which a node is having two children. Okay. Okay. So in this case, let us think for a while. I mean, if I want to delete 20, okay, I need to replace something I mean, I need to replace some value there. I mean, I need to replace 20 with some other value. Okay, because I simply cannot remove 20 because 20 is having two children. So I cannot make 15 point to 18 and then 15 point to 30 because 15 cannot have three children, right? So I have to do something. I mean, I have to replace 20 with some other value. Okay. Now what should be that value? Let us uh, let us do one thing. Let us find out the largest value which is present in the left subtree of 20. Okay, now why I'm saying you to find the largest value? It is because if I replace 20 with the largest value present in the left subtree of 20, then all the nodes that, I mean, after replacing 20 with the largest value present in the left subtree of 20, so all the nodes that will be in the left subtree of that largest value. Okay, I mean, after replacing 20. Okay, so let us take an example. I mean, let us say in this case, the largest value in the left subtree of 20 is 19. So what I do is I simply remove 19 and I replace the value 20 with 19. Okay. So now after doing that, you can I mean, you can see that all the nodes that are in the right subtree of 19 are still going to be greater than 19. Okay, because I did nothing in the right subtree. I mean, I didn't touch the right subtree. But in case of left subtree, since I chose the largest value among all the different nodes present in the left subtree and replaced 20 with that value, so after that replacement, the nodes which are now present in the left subtree will be lesser than 19 because I chose the largest value in the left subtree. So after replacing 20 with 19, all the nodes that are now left in the left subtree will be lesser than 19, and my binary search tree property holds. So this is a possible way in which I can delete this node. Else what I can do is I can go to the right subtree of 20 and choose the smallest value among all the different nodes. So keep this in mind. You can do either of them. Okay, it's not necessary that you do it both the times. You can either choose the largest value from the left subtree, or you can choose the smallest value from the right subtree. Okay, and then you can simply delete 19. I mean, delete the node 19 and replace 20 with the value 19. Okay. Or else, what else I could have done is, if I don't want to touch the left subtree, so I'll go to the right subtree. I'll find out the smallest value in the right subtree. So in the right subtree of 20, there is only one node present. So what I do is I delete 30 and I replace 20 with 30. So you can see that again the binary search tree property holds, and it is always going to hold, because of the fact that I mentioned that you are selecting the largest from the left subtree and you are selecting the smallest from the right subtree. So after replacing those values, the binary search tree property is going to I mean, is it like it's going to hold. Okay, so this is about deletion. Now probably I'm thinking to skip coding this deletion part, because this will take a lot. I mean, this will take a lot of time, and you are also saying that you are not that much familiar in C++. So probably I'll tell Monish to provide you the codes, or maybe if we can do something. So that would be better. But yeah, I mean, I hope that the idea is clear. I mean, because this was probably the most complicated scenario among the three different types of deletions that we perform. So so first you perform a search operation. You find out where you first find out the position of that node, and then you try to put it into, I mean, like among those three categories, you try to pick which category that particular situation belongs to, and then you try applying the algorithm that I mentioned. So okay, so that's pretty much about the basic operations that we can do in a binary search tree. You can do insertion operation, a search operation, and then a delete operation in a binary search tree. Again, like you can you can probably look for problems in binary search tree in LeetCode, or maybe uh, in maybe HackerRank or HackerRank. Like I don't know about CodeChef and Codeforces, because you don't really find questions on binary search trees, and uh, binary trees, and maybe linked list. Or like, I mean, for all these topics, questions are usually not present in CodeChef and Codeforces, but you can you can try looking for them in LeetCode, or maybe in HackerRank, or maybe InterviewBit if you want to solve. So so yeah. So yeah, like if you have any doubt, you can ask. Otherwise, we can end the meeting. Okay, so cool then. I think we're done with today's session, and probably I'll try to keep a meeting tomorrow also on graph theory. So I'll be covering some of the basic concepts of graph theory, and some, if possible, then some known algorithms of graph theory. So yeah. So have a good day then. I'm ending the meeting now.